veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at newstalkstl.com.
Brought to you by Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, and Heroes Care.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community, Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. As we follow the important issues facing Jefferson County, if you want to stay informed on Jeffco politics, especially in this all-important midterm election year, make sure to tune in this and every Sunday at high noon here on News Talk STL.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
If it's a big story in Jefferson County, you'll hear about it on Jeffco Patriot Radio. Sundays at noon on News Talk STL.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. Valentine's Day, just a few hours away. Millions of Americans will celebrate significant others with cards, candy, and gifts. While the holiday is commonly associated with Cupid, its origin goes back centuries. It all began with an ancient Roman ritual for fertility. The bizarre event was called the Celebration of the Wolf. Towns across the Roman Empire picked a day in early spring when young women would be covered with animal pelts and then married to random men by a lottery. In the 5th century, the Pope replaced the pagan festival with a day honoring Saint Valentine. Valentine was an Italian priest. He married young couples in secret after the Roman authorities outlawed matrimony for members of the army. Once discovered, the bishop was dragged before Emperor Claudius the Cruel and quickly beheaded. Today, St. Valentine's Day is celebrated by lovers all over the world. The average American spends about $200 on dinner, candy, and flowers. In Japan, women give boxes of sweets to objects of their affection. If interested, men can return that favor exactly 30 days later. The tradition, called the 1-month ceremony, dates back more than 2,000 years in Japan. Scandinavians read poems. Folks in Wales exchange wooden spoons. South Africans pin the names of their partners on their sleeves. Officials in the Philippines dispense free marriage certificates. In Germany, wait for it, pigs are considered lucky animals. So, couples give glass figurines of swine and hogs to each other. Wow. And here's something else you might not know. Back in the USA, roughly 10 million Americans will take a knee on Valentine's Day, not to protest, but to pop the question. It's the biggest proposal day of the year. Back in a moment. Are you trapped in a timeshare? Fees rise every year, while availability keeps shrinking, and resorts make exiting nearly impossible. That's why I endorse only one timeshare exit company, Lone Star Transfer. They're family-owned, transparent, committed to treating every client with respect while telling you the truth. Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 40,000 owners exit their timeshares legally and ethically through a simple, proven process. First, you receive a complimentary case review to confirm eligibility. Next, an exit strategy is customized to your specific situation. Finally, the Lone Star Transfer team implements your plan, guarantees results. I have partnered with the owners for more than 5 years. Personally witnessed the outcomes delivered to our listeners. No surprise fees, no unused vacations, no stress, peace of mind. So please visit LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Several functions of the Department of Homeland Security face at least a temporary shutdown at midnight tonight. House Speaker Mike Johnson says this is nothing more than political posturing, and the ones paying the price for this stalemate will be the American people.
Well, it means more frustration and pain for no obvious reason. We got 11 of the 12 separate appropriations bills passed through both chambers of Congress and signed into law, but the Homeland Security bill was stalled by the Democrats because they want to try to make a political point. Here's the irony. Holding up the funding for the Department of Homeland Security has no impact on that whatsoever because we pre-funded ICE operations in the big, beautiful bill. So it's funded all the way through the end of the Trump administration.
Speaker Johnson appeared on the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins. The entire interview will be broadcast starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday on the Salem News Channel. A crew of 4 is headed to the International Space Station. Correspondent Donna Warder reports.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon, and Godspeed Crew 12.
The U.S., French, and Russian astronauts are replacing the astronauts who cut their mission short last month in NASA's first medical evacuation. The new crew's mission is expected to last 8 to 9 months. They should be arriving at the orbiting lab on Saturday. I'm Donna Warder.
President Trump has decided to move a second aircraft carrier into the Middle East as he presses Iran to make a deal over its nuclear program. The USS Gerald R. Ford is being sent from the Caribbean Sea to the Mideast. On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow is up by 48 points. The Nasdaq dropped 50, the S&P up by 3. More at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. American
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
The boats are back at Missouri's premier boat and fishing show.
February 20th through 22nd at America Center.
Take advantage of screaming deals on hundreds of boats.
Check out wake surf and pontoon boats,
fishing boats and luxury cruisers,
personal watercraft, and more.
Enjoy non-stop entertainment.
Live stingrays, pro angler demos.
Get ready for fun in the sun
at the St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show.
February 20th through 22nd at America Center.
Go to stlouisboatshows.com for info. Kids are free.
The world's best athletes, the biggest stage, the thrill of competition. News Talk STL brings you Winter Game updates 4 times every weekday. Get the latest results, medal counts, and top stories from the games. Stay connected to all the action as our athletes go for the gold. Brought to you by Corel Roofing and Best Buy Flooring. Details at newstalkstl.com. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Well, Kate, look, this is some encouraging news on the cost of living, right? Inflation took a big step in the right direction to start the year off. So consumer prices up by 2.4% year over year. That is an improvement from 2.7% in December that beat expectations, which were for 2.5%. In fact, this is a new 8-month low for annual inflation, month over month. Prices up by 0.2%. Also a step in the right direction, also beating expectation. Now, economists look really closely at core inflation, which excludes food and energy. Core inflation came in at 2.5%. That's notable because that's the lowest annual inflation rate for core since March of 2021, before the inflation crisis.
Trying to give you happy news on a Friday, and we got it from the CPI inflationary report. Lowest levels of inflation since 2021, when Joe Biden got the crazy train of inflation rolling down the tracks. We'll discuss all that and more today on Friday's edition of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Tim here, Chris here, Joey V here as well. Chris Arps, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and that is fantastic news coming on the heels of earlier this week that 130,000 jobs were created in May. The unemployment rate ticked down to 4.3%. Great economic news for the president and for Republicans heading into the midterm elections. And that 2.4 inflation number is very important because we hear this all the time, that the Fed's target rate is 2%. That's what they feel that is manageable, where prices are stable, where people can afford their goods and services. We're pretty close to that. 2.4 is pretty close to 2.7. It was 3.3% during the Biden administration. So inflation is slowly ticking down, and I hope that in the coming weeks and months, Americans will start feeling that. They are feeling it when it comes to filling up their tanks because gas is at an all-time low right now.
Yep. Still got a long way to go because of all the damage that was done, so we will remain cautiously optimistic. I'm going to talk about some of those factors involving in turning the Titanic of the economy around in the Speaker's stump speech this afternoon. We've got lots to get to. In addition to all of that and more, we have a very special Chris's Corner today because it's in a special time slot. It's special because we moved it. How about that? Chris's Corner coming at us at 4:25 today.
And we had to move that to accommodate the good congressman because usually that is his spot. He'll be with us at 4:45. Chris's Corner today is the Fetterman warning Democrats don't want to hear. Senator Fetterman was the only Republican or Democrat to join Republicans to fund DHS funding. And so as you can well imagine, his Democratic colleagues are not too happy with him, and we'll expound on that and the warning his colleagues don't want to hear.
Chris will set that up nicely for our conversation with the good doctor, Bob Onder, congressman for Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. We'll, of course, ask him about the fight over that aforementioned Department of Homeland Security funding, the Save America Act. Bob Onder's effort to designate America's National Churchill Museum as a historic landmark right here in Fulton, Missouri. A lot of folks don't know that that's here, but it is just south of Kingdom City, just north of Jefferson City. And we'll discuss all those issues and more with the good congressman and ask him if he's going to be joining us live and in person next Friday in Springfield for Lincoln Days.
Becky and I visited that museum probably about 10 years ago. She played hooky from work, and so we drove out there and visited it. And what's very interesting is there is a church that was built over in England in like the 1700s. Famous architect Christopher Wren, I think that's his name.
Yes, you're right.
They disassembled that church, Tim, block by block, brick by brick, and reassembled it here on the campus of the Churchill Museum. So And it also has a portion of the Berlin Wall that's there as well. And it was an interesting kind of side note. We visited the museum there, and what's it? Where is it at?
Fulton.
Fulton, right. And last summer when we went to England, we went to the Churchill Bunker Museum where they basically planned the war down there. So it was a nice bookend to go to the museum here in Missouri and to visit in London the bunker where he prosecuted the war.
That is very cool. That is really cool indeed. I would love to go see that myself.
Oh, it was a great time.
You and I are both aficionados of Churchill. We like Churchill,
Especially
and
the cigars.
Indeed, there's a lot to like about Churchill.
Yes.
You know, I really admire these amazing figures from history who also were very much aware of their human frailties, because it reminds us that they're not superhuman beings. They're not Marvel Avengers. They're humans. I think that's why I like Jefferson so much. Thomas Jefferson was a flawed human being. He died almost penniless and bankrupt. He wanted to make sure that all men and women were free, but yet he was a slaveholder. He struggled with many different he didn't just write the Declaration of Independence once. He went through multiple drafts and rewrites with that. He was a conflicted guy, right, in many different ways. And Churchill, same way. Churchill was a ladies' man, a partier, a drinker, a smoker, and one of the most amazing human beings for freedom and liberty on our planet. And Chris, one of the coolest things that a lot of my stuff from my time in office is in boxes. Some of it's out in some of my offices and stuff. But one thing I have prominently displayed is one of my favorite things I picked up when I was able to be Speaker of the House, and that was the fact that when we were asked, every speaker can put people in the Hall of Fame of Missourians. So I put 3 people in, and that's a different story. But one of the sculptors, who was a very young man, who was awesome, he said, Tim, if you choose me, because you chose me to be one of the sculptors, I want to give you a gift. I will do a mini bust for you of any figure in history. You pick. You know how hard that is when somebody says, pick somebody in history, living or dead.
Exactly.
And maybe I should have picked an American or a president or something of that sort. I chose Winston Churchill. And I think you've seen it. It's on the mantle of my little office in Eureka.
I have seen that.
Little mini bust. It's really light. It's not made of metal. It's very lightweight. And he made it gunmetal gray, like he made it wartime. It was wartime Churchill. And it's one of the most, I look at it all the time, and it reminds me of how hard it is to fight for freedom and liberty on this planet. So.
And in fact, Churchill, of course, was the prime minister of Britain, but he wasn't American. His mother was American.
Well, there you go.
So he was American because his mother was an American. And also, too, he is related distantly to Princess Diana. He is in the Spencer line.
Okay. Did you see one of the recent movies about him, The Darkest Hour? Gary Oldman plays Churchill. And you're like, how in the world can Gary Oldman play Churchill? Looks nothing like him. In this movie, he becomes Churchill.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman and Daniel Day-Lewis, I think, are 2 of the best character actors ever created. And so you should watch that because the bunker, a lot of it, Chris, is him in the bunker. A lot of the movie is spent following him around in the bunker and what they were doing there at that time.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. You go there, it's a nondescript building there in London, and you would never know that all the people that were responsible for making sure that England fought the war were in the basement of this building, and they've turned it into a museum. It has all kind of artifacts. What's interesting too is you look at politics. How you can be on top at one point and then not be on top. I mean, here is Churchill, received all these accolades, helped win the war. He has the most famous, shortest speech in history: "Never ever give up." That was it. And then a few years after the war, they drummed him out.
How quickly people forget.
Exactly.
And how quickly the political tides turn. Indeed. One day you're big time, next day you go from hero to zero very quickly on this planet. Just you and me talking here. You didn't forget what tomorrow is, did you?
I did not.
Okay, very
not.
good.
I had planned after we leave the show. I know Becky's probably listening, so it's no secret. But after the show, I had planned to pick up my Valentine's gift for my Valentine and head home and got a couple of steaks out of the freezer.
Nice.
So we don't usually go out anywhere on Valentine's Day. We just kind of keep it keep it cozy at home.
Very good. I also remembered what tomorrow is, and so now we'll remind all of you. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Big weekend, actually. We have the Winter Games going on. We have Valentine's tomorrow, and I was reminded, I completely forgot about this, listening to Columbo and Company, that tomorrow is Mardi Gras, is Missouri Mardi Gras. Yeah. St. Louis arguably has the second largest Mardi Gras celebration in the country after New Orleans. That's our sister city just down the river, and so it's probably no accident there. So St. Louis Mardi Gras. It's supposed to rain tomorrow.
That's what I heard.
Hopefully they get the parade in the morning, and the rain sometimes can tamp down on the crazy crap. So
you hope
later in the evening. If you're going to Mardi Gras, pack an umbrella, bring your poncho, have a good time, be careful.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't do anything stupid. If you can, help yourself. And be with us here back on Monday, which is President's Day. Yeah. And in honor of President's Day, Chris, you've got a prop over there. I remembered to bring what I told you I thought I had somewhere. Somebody gave this to me. If you're watching on the monitors, I've got this little Trump pen that somebody gave me. I don't remember where it came from. It's
like a Pez.
It's a little pen.
Okay.
And listen, he says a bunch of stuff.
The collusion delusion is over. That's going to be worth a lot of money one day, like 50 or 60 years.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of stuff. What else does he say?
America will never be a socialist country.
Yeah, he says like 12 different things. So whoever gave this to me, thank you very much. I'm sorry I forgot who you were. But it's a little Donald Trump pen. Chris was holding up the bobblehead. We're giving those away. Not my pen. We're giving those away on Monday. Every single show here, we'll be giving away the Trump hugging the American flag bobblehead. It'll be the best and biggest bobblehead giveaway ever. Of course it will be.
And I got to say, this is not some cheap giveaway here. This thing's got a little weight on it.
You've been eyeballing that all week.
I want it. Jeff says there's a couple left over for us because I do want one of these. This is going to be a collector's item one day. And as I said, it's not cheap. It's pretty heavy. It's got some weight on it.
It's very cute. It's very funny. It's very Trump, right? And I think it's great that's
good hair too.
I think I think it's great that not Washington, not Lincoln, not even Reagan. We're giving away Donald Trump hugging the American flag. So there you go. That'll be on Monday, starting with the Mike Ferguson in the morning show, and then throughout the day. Joey, I have to comment on the fact, again, look, you're missing a lot, folks, if you're not watching us on the monitors. This is a radio and a television show at the same time.
Yes,
Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Joey's got WrestleMania. Is that Randy Macho Man Savage on there?
Randy Macho Man.
Was that pretty good?
That was really good. My goodness. I mean, the way he sounds now. I mean, he is dead.
He's
so
dead.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a WrestleMania 3 T-shirt. I used to be into wrestling, and I still follow it, but I don't watch it. There's just newsletters and threads that I read, and I keep up with it, but I don't actually watch any of it.
All right, do you know any Macho Randy, whatever his name is, Macho Savage trivia? What's his real name? Botchko or something like that, isn't it?
I do remember it, but I've just forgotten it because you put me on the spot.
And what baseball team did he play in the minor leagues for?
Well, you know what? There was a picture of him wearing some sort of Cardinals uniform.
Yeah,
right?
he was a catcher in the Cardinal farm system back in the day.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I have not watched wrestling in any sort of actual way, probably since who was the guy?
WrestleMania 1?
No, I passed that. I got past the Hulk Hogan years and the Randy Macho Man years. Who was the guy? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
That was probably the last time.
Yeah.
So, Joey, who are like the big characters now? Like,
I have no idea.
What do the kids talk about these days?
Probably Roman Reigns, and that's incredible because me and him were born on the same exact day.
No way.
But he's
He
about
should be
a foot
retiring,
taller,
shouldn't
and he's like 200 pounds heavier and just all muscle. So I always imagine, man, if I'd have really applied myself,
If
I
he's
could have
your
looked
age,
like Roman Reigns.
If he's your age, shouldn't he be about near retirement?
Well, no, he had a bout with, I think, leukemia, and he
okay.
beat that, and then he came back, and I
Good
think
for
when
him.
you're that big, you learn how to protect yourself. That's the big thing with some of these wrestlers. You pick a finishing move that's not going to break your body. You know, these guys like Randy Orton, he always lands on his coccyx for every finishing move. Or like Hulk Hogan, he always land on his butt every time. Roman Reigns, I don't think he does anything to hurt himself.
What is a coccyx, by the way?
That's your tailbone.
Tailbone.
Okay.
That's that bony thing above your below your belt. I'll just put it that way. I'm trying to family show here. Yeah.
Speaking of prevention, Joy, you have a movie at 5:43, Crime 101.
Did you say
Is that
speaking
a good
of
segue
prevention?
for that? Yeah, you want to prevent crime.
What are you talking about?
I was trying to segue there.
Speaking of big tailbones, my goodness. Yeah, Crime 101, it's got Mark Ruffalo and Halle Berry and Chris Hemsworth, and we'll find out if that star power can actually excite you, if it's worth your time.
That is a lot of star power there.
That is quite a bit. That'll be Crime 101. Joey V's Movies. We'll find out how many T-Ravs, how many toasted raviolis Crime 101 gets at 5:45, one of the highlights of the week. Right before that, we'll speak with Patrick Tuohey. Will voters in St. Louis and Kansas City vote to renew their earnings taxes? That was placed on the ballot through a statewide referendum a number of years ago, where now I think every 5 or 10 years, voters in St. Louis and Kansas City, they get to decide whether or not they want to renew their earnings taxes. And we'll ask Patrick, what did he learn from moderating the Show Me Institute's second public forum on crime?
About 5 years ago, News Talk STL decided not to renew our city earnings tax, didn't they?
We sure did. Chris, you know what? I just realized that. That's brilliant. We voted with our feet.
We did. We voted with our feet, moved out to St. Louis County, and got a 1% raise.
Yeah. You know, I've never thought of it that way because we use that analogy all the time, but I've been living in Eureka, Missouri most of my life. I did live in New York for 10 years, so I kind of voted with my feet,
right.
But it was a long time ago. But we say that all the time, but I just realized we just did that a few years ago. We said, no way, Jose, we're not renewing that. The parking downtown is like the price of 2 of Joey's salaries because he's so expensive.
Yeah.
We didn't want to deal with the crime and public safety issues, the tax, the 1% earnings tax, and we had this beautiful facility that Joe and Jeff found that we were able to build out ourselves. And I think everybody's pretty much happier for it.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Ferguson wasn't too happy about coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning down at Union Station with homeless and whoever hanging around there. So he was probably the one that was glad the most that we were moving.
Mike and Gabe had a story every week. If you want to think people make things up about crime in the city, these guys, those poor guys, and then for a while, I think Katie was kind of coming in a little early for a while, and we just couldn't do that to ourselves anymore. So we're out here, we're in the county. You probably don't care where we are because wherever you are is where we are, but that's what we did a number of years ago. We voted with our feet.
Yeah. When it started getting dark early, and after the show was over, I would walk Katie out to her car. I just couldn't let her walk out there by herself, and with who knows who out there lurking.
Mm-hmm. And there always were people lurking in and around, right on 18th Street there, back in the city.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to talk, and we love the city. I think that's why my family, we haven't moved. There's nostalgia with St. Louis. There's so many great neighborhoods. We want it to literally be great again, and there seems to be some signs, some glimpses that it possibly has turned the corner. But we'll ask Patrick about that at 5:25. Speaker stump speech. You don't turn the Titanic on a dime. Bob Onder at a special time today at 4:40. We're going to talk about all of those huge issues on Capitol Hill. Chris's Corner, Fetterman with a little love letter to Democrats. This week.
I'm sure that's not what they're calling.
And more. Quick Winter Games update. We will have a full Winter Games update. We bring you a Winter Games update every day here at News Talk STL multiple times during the day. Ours, during our program, will be around 5:25 this afternoon, but I thought I'd tell everybody where we are on the medal count. U.S. in a strong third place with 14 total medals.
Right.
And, Chris, listen to this. The Norwegians, maybe unexpectedly, are leading the pack with 8 golds and a total of 18 medals. But the host country, Italy, with 6 golds and also 18 medals. There is a tie for first in total medals with Norway and Italy, and then the U.S. in a strong third place. I'm sure there'll be more medals awarded many more medals awarded throughout the weekend. And Team USA, the hockey team, had their first game last night in the prelims, and they routed Latvia.
I was going to say, who'd they play, Jamaica?
They routed Latvia 5-1, and they even called 2 U.S. goals back offside, so it could have been 7-1, but 5-1, the poor Latvians, they just could not compete. I understand, though, that we're going to have a tough time. Team USA is taking on Canada, who, by the way, has the best goalie on the planet, the St. Louis Blues' own Jordan Binnington.
Exactly. So wishing them luck, but not too much luck.
Indeed, for sure. All right, got to get to a break here. Chris's Corner coming up next, talking a little Fetterman, talking a little Democrats, next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 101.9, 94.1, News Talk STL.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
Hey everyone, it's Todd Showalter with my buddy Joey V. Be sure to join me and Joey for the Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Saturdays at 5, right here at 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
You know, we're gonna have a little rain over the weekend, but all in all, for February, not a bad weekend ahead. You're probably gonna get outside and do a lot of weekend warrior stuff. Bet you're gonna be out now that the snow is pretty much all completely gone. Maybe doing a bunch of yard work, maybe getting out and exercising. Don't overdo it, especially if you've been hibernating over the last 2 weeks. Take it easy. And also what you might want to do is thinking about making an appointment right now at Comprehensive Chiropractic for early next week. They're at cchiropractic.com. If you go to that website, you'll see their phone numbers, their address, all of their offerings right at the top of the page. It's 636-938-9310. But if you're driving, don't worry. The only thing you got to remember, very simple website, easy to recall, cchiropractic.com. cchiropractic.com. They are the best sports performance chiropractic company in our region. People come from all over the region because they're just that good. I have been visiting with the docs at Comprehensive Chiropractic for, I'd say, close to 20 years now. Dr. Pat Fader is a very close personal friend, and he has saved this old body from surgery. I try to stay very active. I do a ton of walking. As you all know, I play a lot of golf, do a lot of yard work. Puts a lot of strain on the body, especially those repetitive motion things with the weed eaters and the chainsaws and the golf clubs. And so Comprehensive Chiropractic, they smooth all that stuff out. They take care of kind of that chronic stuff that just kind of aches and pains. They can also take care of you if you've been in an accident, or if you've had surgery, or if you've had maybe the onset of something that you'd like, like an arthritic condition or something of that sort. They can treat the body from stem to stern, top to bottom. They can take care of athletes and weekend warriors and everybody in between. They also have holistic services like Pilates and yoga classes upstairs in the studio. Beautiful setting, really remarkable place for exercise and exercise classes. Small classes, personal attention. They got the licensed massage therapist. They have personal trainers. And they can also help you with your, if you're like, I have no idea what supplements I should be taking. Should I be taking any supplements? These, that, the other thing, they'll help you with that too. And they have them there on site for purchase. It is true, holistic, comprehensive care. That's what you get at Comprehensive Chiropractic. They're at cchiropractic.com. Comprehensive Chiropractic for all your comprehensive healthcare needs.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
JC's Wayback Machine.
Love is in the air, or is that just the wind blowing in from Sanjay? Well, all I know is Saturday is Valentine's Day, so we're going to open the files for everything comedy and music that deals with the male-female experience. And our celebrity A-list interview of the week is one of the stars of both Saved by the Bell and Showgirls, Elizabeth Berkley. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
Looking for your perfect country escape? Or maybe it's time to sell your horse property or farm? Meet Gina Parmentier with Realty Net Service Realtors. As a second-generation broker with 29 years of experience, Gina specializes in horse properties, farms, and rural real estate throughout Franklin County and the surrounding St. Louis area. Whether buying or selling, Gina knows the land, and she knows how to get results. Call 314-504-5409. That's 314-504-5409. Realty Net Service Realtors, where country living meets expert service.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in this town. See, me and the boys, we don't like it, so we're getting up and going down.
Are you anticipating cutting a deal with Democrats to end the potential shutdown for DHS?
We'll see what happens. We always have to protect our law enforcement. Very important. They've done a great job. Remember, they've taken out hundreds of thousands of criminals out of our country, and we have the best crime numbers we've ever had, and everywhere. Murder numbers, crime numbers of any kind. We have the best numbers.
431 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, and you can't dispute the facts. That is true. Crime has dropped dramatically since the president has been back in the White House, especially in Washington, D.C. I think they went 3 months without a murder, which is seems like unheard of that something like that would happen. DHS, of course, is scheduled to shut down at midnight. The House and Senate members, Tim, they are on a week and a half sabbatical. They're gone. So we're not going to have a deal. So we're going to have this partial shutdown. It'll be very interesting to see who wins this political battle. I think part of the reason why the president and the administration decided to settle this situation in Minneapolis and reduce the troops is it really puts a lot of onus on the Democrats to fund DHS, because they can't say, well, look what's going on in Minneapolis. It's havoc. It's mayhem. President can say, hey, there's no people up there. We've cut it back dramatically. The Minneapolis officials have said they are going to cooperate. So why are you shutting down the government? This doesn't make any sense. So I think that was part of the strategy for them.
Yeah, Donald Trump, very much, he's good at reading tea leaves, and he not only ended the surge in Minneapolis, he pulled out most of the troops in all of these other hot spots as well. And he's basically done the whole Pontius Pilate thing, like, all right, you Democrats, you want to destroy your cities, fine. But he said, if any of you would like any help, I will send back in. I thought it was very smart to have Tom Homan do that press conference where Tom Homan said, look, we're going to remove the surge, but the people that were here before from ICE, they're going to stay here. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. We're going to keep arresting the bad hombres and sending them back where they came from. But, yeah, you're right. He's really calmed the waters, and there's no political emergency anymore for the Democrats to point to.
Exactly.
So they're going to have to find a new crisis somewhere, I guess.
I think it was a very strategic decision to pull the troops out and to come to an agreement with these Minneapolis officials right before DHS funding runs out. Before we get to Chris's Corner, Tim, you've been keeping up with, I know you sometimes call her Barbie, Kristi Noem, and this Corey Lewandowski situation, the rumors that they are having an affair and all of that. Have you been keeping up with any of that and heard about it?
Not the latest, and I guess not so greatest. I had heard there were allegations of an affair. Is Kristi Noem still married?
Yes, both of them are married.
Oh, they're both married.
They're both married.
Okay. And in case folks don't hear it, Corey Lewandowski was one of the guys you saw in Trump 1.0.
Yeah. He was Trump's first campaign manager.
And he was everywhere all the time. And isn't it interesting? You hardly see him anywhere, anytime anymore. I think he's originally from Maine.
Yeah. He's from Maine. And so, there's been a lot of allegations that they're having an affair. Some pictures surfaced earlier in the year. They had apartments in Washington that were right across the street from each other, and someone has pictures of him going back and forth. Now, it could have been a work thing. He might have been talking to her about work, so I don't think you can necessarily infer that they are having a relationship. But because of that, she ended up moving to the home that you get if you're the Coast Guard Commandant, just to squash down any rumors. But the latest thing today, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Corey Lewandowski fired a pilot because Kristi Noem's blanket was left on a plane after they had to change planes because of malfunctions. He fired the pilot, told him, you're going to have to take a commercial airplane home because of this. And then they realized they had nobody to fly them home. So he was reinstated. I mean, this is just turning to a mess. And this was the Wall Street Journal reporting this. So this is not something.
It's not page 6.
Exactly.
How is Corey Lewandowski firing anyone? Does he pick up a phone and make a does he pick up the phone and make a phone call?
The thing is, he's a special government employee. He's only supposed to be there for 3 months. But the rumors are he is basically running the department and running everything behind the scenes. He tried to get a job in the White House, and the president didn't want him and basically put him there in DHS. But I just find this so interesting that people think they're having an affair. They deny they're not having an affair. They're supposed to. They're both married. Wall Street Journal article talks about that. It's kind of a open thing within staffers that they are having an affair on this private plane that they have. Well, not a private plane, but a government plane that they use. There's a back cabin in the back of the plane they go to and have meetings. They have meetings. So
a lot of smoke.
Yeah, a lot of smoke. And, if you hear the rumors, if you hear the talk, Kristi Noem is supposed to be not in the best situation with President Trump. There's been a lot of rumors about her being fired. I think they're true, but I think President Trump is like, I don't want to give the media anything to run with, and to think that they that I'm giving them a scalp, so I'm keeping her. But there's a lot of talk in D.C. that the president is not particularly happy with her, and I've heard Pam Bondi as well. So.
Yeah, I could see Pam Bondi. And Kristi Noem, I don't know. I thought that was an odd selection to make her chief for Department of Homeland Security. The closest border she's to is the one that we don't have problems with Canada. So I was like, does she know enough about the situation with the southern border?
And I think it was a consolation prize. I can't remember, but there was another job that she was angling for first in the cabinet, and they decided to go with someone else. And I think this was like a consolation prize for her. So we'll see.
Just mind your P's and Q's and don't do any unforced errors. Trying to get someone fired for a blanket left behind. Yeah. Look, if Kristi Noem had if she had gotten hurt somehow or something serious, okay, yeah, but don't bring don't bring the media down on you by doing stuff like that you really can avoid.
Yeah, and make sure if you do fire the pilot, make sure that somebody can fly you home.
That's right. That's true indeed. Because then we're like, oh, well, who's going to fly the plane?
On that note, Joey, let's do a little Carner.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
The Fetterman warning Democrats don't want to hear. Let me tell you something. When John Fetterman is suddenly the voice of realism inside the Democratic Party, you know there's a problem. Fetterman isn't sounding like a conservative. He's not even attacking Democrats. What he's doing is far more dangerous to his party. He's telling the truth. Listen to what he said as a guest on this week's The Conversation with Playbook's Dasha Burns. He admits the Democratic brand is dropping. He admits voters aren't stupid. He admits that the stuff that plays well on activist email lists doesn't work in the states that actually decide elections. And then he commits the ultimate sin in modern politics. He refuses to treat voters like children. That's it. That's the crime. Because today's Democratic Party doesn't run on persuasion anymore. It runs on moral scolding, institutional pressure, and base appeasement. And Fetterman just walked out of line. Now look at the response. The Working Families Party, one of the groups that helped get him elected, is now openly trying to primary him. Their argument? That he sold them out because he supported Trump nominees, skipped votes, and didn't toe the ideological line. Translation? He didn't obey. This is how modern political movements operate. Loyalty isn't measured by results or voters' reach. It's measured by obedience to the activist class. Step aside that lane and you're branded a traitor. And here's where this gets bigger than John Fetterman. A Clinton-era Democratic strategist, not a Republican, is now admitting the obvious. Democrats are bleeding working-class voters. 60% of the electorate, 60%. That's not a messaging problem. That's an existential one. And Fetterman knows it. He's saying out loud what Democrats privately admit. You cannot run a national party on coastal language, academic framing, and activist talking points and expect voters in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, or Michigan to just nod along. But here's the catch. The Democratic Party can't change course without admitting they've been wrong, and movements built on moral certainty never admit error. So Fetterman is an outlier, not because he's extreme, but because he's practical, and that makes him dangerous to the very coalition that put him there. The takeaway is simple. When a party punishes honesty and rewards ideological compliance, it doesn't expand, it shrinks. And John Fetterman just held up the warning flag. The question is whether Democrats will see it or try to cancel it or him. That is Chris's Corner.
Mm-hmm. You know, you got to wonder if somebody over at CNN also has it out for the Democratic Party these days, because our buddy, the excitable Harry Enton, is constantly putting up polls that are negative towards Democrats. Look, I think we're equal opportunity critics here. We're pretty rough on Republicans, I think, day in and day out. But the Democratic Party is not doing itself any favors, and Harry Enton on CNN pointed out, I think yesterday, that there's like 58% of Americans now think the Democratic Party is too liberal. So what you just said is exactly what Fetterman has also figured out. And if the Republicans could figure out how to capture more of the Americans who are looking for a home, a political home, because they feel the Democratic Party is just too absolutely insane, the Democratic Party is going to consign itself to the electoral wilderness. And there's more and more polls that, the Democrats are too far left on the 80% issues. They're against voter ID. They're against criminal illegal aliens being deported.
Mutilating
children. I mean, these are huge issues. That's what Republicans should be running on. But Democrats can't seem to help themselves, and that's exactly what you were talking about with Fetterman's just trying to point that out.
And just like I said in Chris's Corner here, they are a coastal party, and they think that's how Americans believe here in flyover country, and they don't. I mean, they're getting very confident. I think Hakeem Jeffries has finally been over into the Speaker's office and is measuring the drapes. They think they think that this is a given that they're going to win this. But as we open the show with 130,000 new jobs created in January, 2.4% inflation. Those are going to be some hard numbers to beat, and that's still early. It's February, so the economy has a lot of time to improve even more before the midterms.
Yeah, given the historical precedent, with a one-vote majority, Republicans should lose and Democrats should win the House. The fact that we're even talking about the prospect of Republicans maybe eking out a miraculous victory is amazing. It just shows how bad the Democrats are not taking advantage of the opportunity before them.
I agree with that. And we'll ask an expert in Congress about his fellow colleagues. Dr. Bob Onder, congressman for Missouri's 3rd District. We'll talk with him next about the SAVE Act and the shutdown of DHS at midnight. Listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, driving the leftist crazy all afternoon. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
On the next, Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story when newsrooms and reporters practice censorship, self-censorship.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
License number GL2500615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey there, News Talk STL friends and family. Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management, and we have a special show this coming Valentine's weekend. We want to have a conversation about the importance of planning for the future you and your loved ones deserve. We're going to spend some time talking about estate planning with my friend Robin Ragland. So tune in right here, News Talk STL, Sunday morning, 9 a.m., or check us out on Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Breaking these rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
I wanted money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
By voting for the Save America Act, House Republicans did exactly what the American people sent us here to do. It's promises made, promises kept. Ensuring the integrity of elections is an essential issue. It's essential to maintaining our constitutional republic, and everybody in this country seems to understand and agree to that. This is about a 90-10 issue in the polling.
445 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. We were just talking about 80-20, 90-10 issues. The Democrats once again on the wrong side. Let's talk with our usual Friday guest.
Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District.
We're calling Dr. Bob. We're calling Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob, Congressman Bob Onder, how are you, my friend?
It is great to be back, Chris.
I got to ask you, the speaker said this week that there's going to be a recess for the next week and a half, but don't make firm travel plans because you may have to come back to D.C. to vote. You think that's a possibility?
Well, I think it is, Chris, although not a very likely one. As you know, the U.S. House of Representatives, we already passed all of the 12 appropriation bills, including to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And pretty much every Republican senator is ready to do the same thing. But while we Republicans put the safety of the American people first, the Democrats are putting illegal aliens first. Remember, over the fall, we had the 43-day shutdown because Democrats wanted illegal aliens to have Medicaid, and now they are shutting down the government because they want criminal illegal aliens to stay in the country. So the American people are depend on programs like FEMA, especially after the severe winter storm we just had. TSA, which keeps us safe when we travel by air, the Coast Guard, and yet Democrats are saying no, shut all that down because we want to make it harder to capture and deport criminal illegal aliens. We're going to hold tight. We're going to hold firm. We're going to keep the safety of the American people first.
Yeah, Bob, drilling down on that a little bit, Chris and I were talking in our first couple segments today about all these 80+% issues, which the Democrats are on the wrong side of. However, Bob, it seems like Democrats are so good, right, at picking one or two topics and then gaslighting and fear-mongering the American people to death. They're really good at it. Whereas Republicans, conservatives, we want to talk about 80 million different things, right? How we're going to reform and fix government. Yeah. But shouldn't Republicans focus on what you just said? Democrats want to do everything they can to keep criminal legal aliens on the streets, and they don't give a rip about any integrity in our electoral process. Voter ID, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, the question is, why do Democrats keep finding themselves on the wrong side of these issues? And I think it's because they're appealing to their lunatic left base. But yes, as the speaker said, the right to vote is one of the most sacred rights of a citizen in a constitutional republic. And if someone, say an illegal alien, votes illegally, he is effectively stealing your vote. And because so many, why is this important? Well, because so many Democrat-run states have allowed illegal aliens to be registered for driver's licenses, even to vote in local elections. There's more and more evidence that they are voting in federal elections as well. The average American thinks this is absolutely ridiculous. The average American says, yeah, I show my photo ID for everything else I do in life. Why wouldn't I show my photo ID when I go to vote? So, as Republicans, we are committed to secure elections, to secure voting, that every legal vote counts, whereas Democrats are promoting criminal illegal voting.
Speaking with Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District. Congressman, last weekend I was watching the Sunday shows, and the main argument that the Democrats were making, including Senator Adam Smith, on why they were against the SAVE Act is they were making a states' rights issue. They said that the states should decide if ID should be required at the polls, not the federal government. I don't know how he said that with a straight face. What about you?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Adam Schiff and the Democrats are small federal government types, huh? Yeah. That's news to me. No, I mean, quite frankly, the reason Adam Schiff and so many Democrats oppose voter ID is that they want to cheat. They quite simply want to cheat. This nonsense about voter suppression, or you're going to make it more difficult for minorities or older folks to vote, it's been disproven again and again and again. Most recently in Georgia, when they passed their landmark voter integrity law, participation in all demographics in the next election, blacks, whites, Hispanics, men, women, older folks, younger folks, increased. So, if anything, I believe that ensuring that your vote counts, every legal vote counts, gives people more confidence and makes them more likely to vote in the election. But that's, we really do need to pass the Save America Act. We need the Senate to pass it and send it to the president's desk so we can ensure the integrity of your vote.
So, Doc, where do you see the shutdown theatrics going? I bet a lot of liberal Democratic voters think that Democrats are fighting to defund ICE right now, when in fact, the truth is you all funded ICE, I think, for the next several years. Yeah. So what they're actually defunding by the shutdown is the Coast Guard, FEMA, TSA. And those things are going to start affecting average, everyday Americans. I'm sure they want these headlines heading into the State of the Union, right? That's probably the reason for all this. But hopefully, maybe the truth comes out as to what they're actually defunding versus what they're telling people they're defunding. And where do you see this going? Is this a long-term shutdown, or do you think this gets resolved in shorter order?
I don't know how long it will last. I do think that the Democrats want a shutdown. Again, this theme of the Democrats wanting to appease their lunatic fringe base by showing that they are fighting Trump. I think what will happen, as with the last shutdown, when the pain of the shutdown actually starts to affect their constituents, they will hear from their constituents who will say, what in the heck is going on? Why can't I get my emergency relief funds, assistance after Hurricane, or rather Winter Storm Fern did so much damage, inflicted so much harm, or when flights start to be canceled because TSA agents are calling in sick because they haven't been paid in a few weeks. But how long that will take, I do not know. But remember, again, just like last shutdown was all about giving health care to illegal aliens, this is all about not detaining and deporting criminal illegal aliens, something that 82% plus of Americans believe ought to be done.
Congressman, yesterday, 6 Republicans joined the Democrats to vote to cancel President Trump's emergency declaration on tariffs on Canada. 3 of those Republicans are retiring. One it was redistricted out of his seat in California, and Thomas Massey, of course, votes against the president all the time.
He know all of that. Yeah.
Your thoughts on those 6 Republicans and the president's tariffs on China? Senate passed that they want to get rid of those tariffs. Where do you see this going?
Yeah, the Trump, as a general rule, I am a free trader. I believe that voluntary economic transactions benefit both parties. But what I believe we have seen over the recent decades is that we have lost many good-paying jobs because other countries cheat. And the era of Trump means the end of an era of bad trade deals. So President Trump has, as we know, been quite aggressive at levying tariffs on various countries. And, of course, I am hoping President Trump, the ultimate deal maker, and we've already seen a lot of this, negotiates good trade deals that will be fair to the United States, fair to the our trading partners, and be mutually beneficial and bring good paying jobs back. But I think what the vote this week was all about was about Democrats trying to stick a finger in the eye of Donald Trump, and it had their resolution had no realistic possibility of becoming law if for no other reason than that President Trump can veto it. I don't speculate on the 6 Republicans. I think each had different motivations, but there's no question the Democrats just want to cause trouble. I think we'll be seeing more tariff resolutions from Democrats in the next few weeks.
Congressman Dr. Bob Onder, our guest this afternoon. Bob, we got about a couple minutes left. Any updates you'd like to give our audience on any Onder legislation that's moving through the system?
Well, yeah, I think the Chloe Cole Act to protect kids from mutilating surgery and poisonous hormones in the name of transgender ideology. I think that got some big boosts. First with the $2 million lawsuit against the transgender quacks 2 weeks ago. Then the American Society of Plastic Surgeons and then the AMA came out against these mutilating surgeries. The namesake of the bill, Chloe Cole, will be my guest at the State of the Union address.
Oh,
yes. So that's quite an honor to be working with a courageous young woman like Chloe on this bill. And actually, it looks like my bill to name the Churchill Museum in Fulton, Missouri, in my district, a National Historic Landmark, is closer to the finish line. It passed the Senate. It passed out of House committee this week, and so on to the floor in the president's desk. Obviously, Winston Churchill is one of the most important figures of the 20th century, and one of the most important speeches of the 20th century, the Iron Curtain speech warning us about Soviet communism, was delivered in a couple of weeks. It will be 80 years ago in Fulton, Missouri. So yeah, some exciting things going on in Congress.
That's Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District, onder.house.gov, and on X, Bob Onder, MO. Have a great weekend, Congressman, and happy Valentine's Day to your wife.
Likewise. Have a great weekend.
Excellent. All right. Speaker Stone speech at 5:07.
You don't turn the Titanic on a dime.
And then Patrick Tuohey will Show Me Institute senior fellow. We'll talk to him about crime. Listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A second U.S. aircraft carrier is being sent to the Middle East as tensions with Iran remain high. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The USS Gerald R. Ford has been ordered to sail from the Caribbean Sea to the Mideast. It's the world's largest aircraft carrier, and its deployment comes as President Trump considers whether to take possible military action against Iran. The Pentagon has been sending warships to the region as the White House increases pressure on Iran to make a deal over its nuclear program. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Police investigating the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie have widened their search for surveillance camera footage, as we hear from correspondent Jennifer King reporting.
Investigators in Tucson, Arizona are asking residents in a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's home to share videos going back a month before her disappearance. Seeing anything out of the ordinary could be important to the investigation. Ann Adams, who lives next door to Guthrie's daughter Annie, says agents wanted to look around her property.
They did ask specifically for the 31st of January and the morning of the 1st of February. And then they wanted to know if we saw anything suspicious on our cameras.
Hopes were raised Tuesday after the FBI released surveillance videos showing a masked person outside Guthrie's front door. I'm Jennifer King.
Federal authorities have opened a criminal probe into whether 2 immigration officers lied under oath about a shooting in Minneapolis last month, as all charges were dropped against 2 Venezuelan men. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Todd Lyons said Friday that his agency had opened a joint probe with the Justice Department. On Wall Street, the Dow by 48 points, the Nasdaq dropped 50, the S&P advanced 3. More at townhall.com.
Listen carefully. Silver prices have experienced a historic surge, breaking above the $100 per ounce threshold for the first time, and industry experts predict silver could climb even higher. It's not too late for you to benefit from the surge in silver. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 to get our free gold and silver investment guide. Plus, you'll also receive a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Debt is rising, currencies are under pressure, and investors are looking for real assets, not paper promises. That's why so many Americans are turning to physical gold and silver with Advantage Gold. Historically, when silver starts moving, it can move fast and aggressively. This isn't about guessing tops or bottoms. It's about understanding risk and positioning before momentum accelerates. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and find out how you can get a tax and penalty-free rollover for a portion of your retirement funds for 2026. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everybody, Senator Eric Schmidt here, inviting you to the statewide Lincoln Day celebration, February 20th through the 22nd. It's going to be a great weekend with fellow patriots. We'll talk about how we're going to continue to save this country, deliver on President Trump's agenda, and also celebrate America 250. So join us there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Learn more about the 2026 Lincoln Days and get tickets at Missouri.gop. That's Missouri.gop. Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
Missouri's premier boat show returns in 2026 as the St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show comes to America's Center the weekend of February 20th through the 22nd. See world-class fishermen working the latest new lures in the hog trough and see how the live fish react. Ride the mechanical bull, see a live stingray encounter. Plus, stop by the STL Power Sports booth and register to win a new e-bike valued at $3,000. The St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show, America's Center, February 20th through the 22nd.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Wages, that is wages accounting for inflation, rose 1.25% from January 2025 to January 2026. So people over the first year of the Trump administration made $1.25, 1.25% above inflation. So in the 4 years under President Biden, real wages fell 1.4%. So Americans turning the corner on making more to afford their lifestyle. Experts think this adds to the argument for another rate cut.
Inflation down, wages up. Not going to say happy days are here again, but we're definitely headed in the right direction. Policies do matter. Talk about more of that in today's Speaker Stump speech in just a moment about the fact that you don't turn the Titanic on a dime. Until we get to that, though, welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show heading into the weekend. Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yes.
Hope y'all didn't forget. Make sure you pick a, at this point, you can still swing by Newsteaders for the next 20 minutes if you want. Other than that, you're going to have to hit Walgreens tomorrow morning, and you can pick up flowers and cards and chocolates and all that stuff there. But, I know it's a bit of a Hallmark holiday. Yeah. It's also a time, it's a reminder to stop and tell those who are close and special to you how much you love them and love having them in your life.
And I just want to tell people, don't wait till tomorrow to go to Walgreens to get your card, because I've done that. And the cards are pretty bare around that time. A lot of empty slots there because they've been gone. They're gone.
All three of us have Valentines in our lives. So happy Valentine's Day to Suzanne and to Becky and to Joey's lady, as he refers to her.
And your 2 daughters, too.
Yep. Daughters Katie and Abby. I miss having Katie around all the time. She's becoming very much a young lady up in college right now. So she'll have a good Valentine's Day with her boyfriend. She's got a very nice boyfriend. Year and a half. Yeah. Colton.
Okay.
Last name Ferguson, so he must be a good guy.
So you don't give him away now.
We know a Ferguson.
We do.
Yeah.
Good Scottish boy.
Yeah, good guy. Soccer player, very athletic kid. He's very driven, works really hard.
Is it serious, you think?
I think it's very serious,
Okay.
yeah. They go to church together all the time. All the time. More than I ever went to church. Like, they go during the week and stuff, Chris.
Okay.
Like, during the week. They go to, like, all kinds of stuff. So I'll be taking them and a bunch of their friends down to Gulf Shores for spring break.
Okay.
They asked me to chaperone.
Not the restaurant.
Well, maybe we'll swing by on the way out of town. We're actually heading to a little tiny town near there called Perdido Key. It's a very pretty little town. It won't be tropical in the Panhandle in March, but it'll be nicer.
Yeah.
And my wife and daughter are heading out for some more college visits.
Okay.
So they said they needed to go do that. And Suzanne said, you take care of Katie and her friends. So I said, sure, I'll go down and play golf. I will be doing the show down there because I'll just, it'll be, Katie, I'm very blessed because, a lot of teenagers, 20-year-olds, they don't, I don't know how good relationships are all the time.
Sure.
But I feel very humbled, actually, that Katie's okay with her old dad being around.
Oh,
so it's a great experience with them and her friends. She's got really great friends. So they'll run around and mess around on the beach and stuff all day. Hopefully it'll be warm enough. I'll play a little golf, and then I'll talk to you guys in the afternoon. That'll be mid-March.
Yeah, it's pretty serious when the boyfriend travels with the family. And
Yes.
It's okay. That's
okay.
when it's
Yeah.
getting pretty serious.
Yeah, he's a good guy, So happy Valentine's Day to our Valentines and to all the Valentines out there. I hope you, and you know what? And for all the for all the loved ones who have gone before us. It's a great weekend to just kind of reflect on all the important people in your life that have made an impact and know that you are loved. Everyone is loved by someone, and hopefully you can take stock of that this weekend. Winter games this weekend. Chris, was I complaining to you all about this Eileen Gu this week?
You mentioned her name.
So, unless this national publication is also going to be termed racist and xenophobic, I was on to something. National Review wrote a story today that's been published called Eileen Gu's Terrible Choice. So I wasn't just making this up in my mind. She is an American-born Stanford University student who is an incredible slope-style skier.
Okay.
The ones that do the flips and stuff in the air on their skis.
Yeah.
Those insane people.
Yes.
So she's very attractive. She's a model. Okay. She's a fashion model. She's a Stanford University student.
She is a woman now.
She identifies as a woman and is a woman.
Okay.
Is a woman.
We got to make sure nowadays.
She's born in the U.S. Her mother immigrated here from China.
Oh, yeah.
Eileen is skiing for the Communist Chinese. And I couldn't understand it. Well, National Review breaks it all down, and they're very critical of her choice.
Yeah.
Basically, Chris, sounds like it came down to a bunch of money. And unfortunately, no, you know what? I bet U.S. sponsors would have happily loaded millions of dollars on her as well. And you know what they make a comparison to? They make a comparison to another Olympic athlete who is also of Chinese descent, who was also pursued by the Chinese to compete for them. And this young lady's father, who escaped from China, said, "No way, comrade, we're having none of it." Yeah. And they got death threats and all kinds of stuff, and they were very worried when they were over there in Beijing 4 years ago. And so you have two young ladies, both of Chinese descent. One of them decides to sell out to the Communist Chinese, and the other one said, "Heck no, I'm an American, and the Chinese are crazy."
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting what the two choices these ladies made.
And I think it is. Look, China wants to have a world-class athlete competing for their team, but I think more than anything, it's a propaganda coup for them to be able to say, "Look, you don't want to compete for your own home country. You want to compete with the Communist Chinese." So I think more for them, they paid for a propaganda coup.
I think you're exactly right. So the one that we should be honoring and celebrating is U.S. figure skater Alyssa Liu, Liu. She was also courted by China to compete for them, but her father, who fled the country after the Tiananmen Square massacre, would have none of it. Yeah. China responded with a campaign of surveillance and intimidation, and there were even fears for Liu's safety when she competed at the Beijing Olympics in 2022. I bet there was.
Yeah. And remember, too, when that story came out a couple of years ago, when the Chinese communists had their own police stations here in the United States where they were abducting people that were Chinese nationals and kidnapping them and sending them back to China and harassing them, here in the United States. So I wonder if they got a little bit of that treatment from the illegal Chinese police station here in the United States.
I bet they had a visit or two.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry to say, I have a bad feeling that Eileen Gu is a big lib because, and we're critical of Time Magazine a lot, but I'm going to give them some credit here. So in addition to everything I told you about Gu, she's also an international relations major at Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
So she's an international relations major. Time Magazine did an interview with her, and they said, okay, that's fine, but what do you think about China's systematic repression of the Uyghur people?
Do I need to go get my barf bag?
Yeah, listen what she says.
All right.
Well, I'm not an expert on that, and it's none of my business. National Review says, asked whether as a Stanford University international relations major she could learn something about it, she said she doesn't trust the data, and she needs to do some research on the ground, and this would be a lifelong search. What a bunch of poppycock.
Just think if people had said that same thing in the late 1930s and 40s about Jewish people being killed and murdered at the camps. I don't really know a lot about that. That's not none of my business. Maybe propaganda.
Mm-hmm. So I got really aggravated. I'd never really heard of Eileen Gu before these Winter Games, but she was skiing the other night, and they were running the story, and I'm like, isn't she an American? Why is she wearing? I'm like, she's skiing for China.
Yeah.
And I learned I learned more about her, and I said to my wife, who's much nicer than me, I said, "Am I being racist, xenophobic, a jerk?" And Suzanne said, Suzanne was righteously indignant too. She said, "No." She said, "That's ridiculous. Why would she do that?" Well, I think we should. I think we should be very critical of her, and I think on the other hand, we should celebrate this Alyssa Liu, the U.S. figure skater, who was presented with the same opportunities and said, "No, I'm an American-born citizen. I will skate for the United States of America."
And I don't have a problem with it if they want to represent a country that's democratic,
Ireland,
and it's Western. You know, we've talked about it this week about Mr. Saraceno. I can't remember his first name. His family owns Christus Pancakes, and the Bartolino family. They have Italian descent. He is skating for the Italian hockey team.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. Now, if it was the Russian hockey team or, something like that, I'd have an issue with that.
Careful how you pick your poison, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you want to jump in with the Jamaican bobsled team, Cool Runnings, or you want to skate with the Italians or whatever. Okay, they're all allies and friends, and we are the world and all that.
Yeah.
But, to go and choose countries like, Russia, China. I don't think North Korea participates in the games.
I don't think so.
I think it's just South Korea.
Yeah.
I think.
I wonder if they have a summer team, though.
They might. I can't remember.
They have a summer team.
Joey's
looking that up. I can tell. I can see his computer mind working.
So, and another young lady, Chloe Kim, I think, also American, Chinese descent. She was in the half pipe snowboarding finals last night, and she got the silver, not the gold. But they did a very funny bit with Snoop Dogg. He's a big Winter Games guy.
He's an honorary captain, I think.
Yeah, you should see the outfits he wears. He wears jackets. Well, whatever the sport is, he'll wear a jacket literally with the faces of the athletes that are competing in that event. So he's got all these different jackets with all these different athletes on him. And he and Stanley Tucci hooked up last night, and they went to an Italian restaurant and had dinner.
I can imagine.
It was a riot. It was good stuff.
I'm sure, Snoop was probably token up a little bit, so I bet you that bill was pretty expensive. He's probably very hungry. He had the munchies.
There was a very fun. To that point, he made a hilarious. So he's got Chloe on the couch. He's interviewing her, and they're watching some video footage of her zipping up into the air.
Yeah.
And Snoop literally said this. He said, "I've never been that high." He said, "In that way."
Yeah.
And she was laughing. She didn't know what she said. She goes, "I'm going to pass on responding to that comment."
I love Snoop. I'll admit he's one of my my vices. I love Snoop.
Boy, has he reincarnated his career 12 times over, and he's still going.
Most definitely. You listen to his albums from the 90s when he first started, and you would think now with the Me Too movement and all that, he would have been canceled. But he is he's a survivor.
He's a survivor. We've got Patrick Tuohey coming up in just a few moments. We're going to ask him about the prospect of St. Louis and Kansas City voting to reject earnings taxes. Probably don't hold your breath on that one. But on a brighter note, what did Patrick learn from moderating the Show Me Institute's second public forum on crime? There's perception, there's reality, there's data, there's cooking the books. All of that was probably involved in that discussion, so we'll ask Patrick about that. And then Joey V's movies at 5:45 today. Crime 101, another one of these L.A. heist movies. We'll find out if this one lives up to the hype with this cast of thousands or not, and whether or not Joey could give it 4 or 5 T-Ravs in total.
And be thinking of your favorite crime movies, because I'm going to ask you at the end of the show if there's one that comes to mind and we can recommend. In case this one's a dud, what people should watch on the weekend.
And I'm watching here on the Wikipedia about the movie. Nick Nolte's in this, one of my all-time favorite actors. They found him out of the crypt somewhere.
Everybody. They brought everybody back for this one.
Yeah, I just watched another movie last night randomly called Die My Love with Jennifer Lawrence, and Nick Nolte popped up in that, so the 85-year-old is still going.
He's going strong. Going strong. All right, as I mentioned earlier, you don't turn the Titanic on a dime. That is the subject of today's Speaker Stump Speech.
Listen to me. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
All right, we've hit on most of these points, so I thought I would just recap them for you, refresh them in your memory as you head into the weekend. When you hang out at your favorite Winter Games Fest, you can talk to your liberal, nattering nabob of negativity neighbors and tell them that no, things are not. Turn that frown upside down. Happy days. Yeah, they're perhaps here again. Thanks so much to Chad Hansen and the gang at Hanson's Tree Service for always sponsoring the Speaker's Stump Speech. So we've played a lot of sound during the show about the good news of the day. And isn't it nice during these days where, there's a lot of tragedy, there's a lot of horror going on in the world. We're still following the horrible Nancy Guthrie saga. Yeah, day 13. I just don't know. They cannot find this poor woman or any trace of her. It's just unbelievable. And there's all the conflicts going on, raging around the world. So maybe be happy about the fact that we do have a couple things that we can smile inwardly about, maybe outwardly as well this weekend. We have Valentine's Day. Take stock and note of the loved ones in your life. Celebrate American pride with the Winter Games. Enjoy this little warming weather sprint that we've been into versus the 10 degrees and snow and ice we had just a few weeks ago. And the fact that we had some positive economic news. Now, you're probably not going to hear about it much, except maybe from Harry Enton at CNN. I just can't believe how much coverage CNN has been giving to some of these happy data points, but maybe you probably won't see it on much of the Sunday morning talk shows, which like to just deliver an endless stream of tragedy TV. But there is cause to celebrate, cautiously, but optimistically, because we saw that one of the things that the Democrats were talking about for so much for the first part of this year, they've gotten a little quieter on, haven't they? Inflation. Why? Because it's down. It's down significantly. It beat expectations in the fourth quarter of last year, coming in at 2.7%. And then, it's pretty meteoric for something to drop another 0.3 and be at 2.4%. As Chris pointed out earlier, the barometer, the metric that the Fed looks for is 2%. We are 0.4% away from where the Fed feels completely and utterly comfortable. And there are some experts, folks, predicting that we could go below 2% before the end of the year. Why wouldn't we continue on this trajectory with everything the Trump administration is doing? You may or may not love Donald Trump, and that's kind of beside the point. How about looking at the policies that this administration has implemented versus the last one? The last administration implemented policies that put us into historic trillion-dollar levels of debt. Inflation nearly touched 10% at one point in time, and America was looked around the world as a laughingstock and a pariah. Now here we are with 2.4% inflation. In addition to that, wages have completely reversed. Under the Biden administration's 4 years, wages were down nearly 1.5%. Now they're up nearly 1.5%. That's more buying power for American families. That is a swing of 3% on wage increases. That's happy news as well. The jobs report, Chris mentioned that. That came out last week. Again, it got very short shrift in the national media. 172,000 new private sector jobs created. Hopefully they got that right this time and they don't have to revise these down like they had been doing. But also, just as important, it was pointed out to me by one of my friends that 372,000 fewer federal jobs were on the payroll. Less government, more private sector. And finally, tax refunds are up 22%. Many people do like to file their taxes early and get that over and done with. Well, those returns are coming in up at an upwards clip of 22% higher back into people's pockets. Finally, the big news of the week on the regulatory front was the fact that the endangerment rule is no more. I actually looked at that. I've forgotten how draconian that was. That was the one put in during the Obama administration to basically declare that carbon dioxide was going to be the end of the world as we know it, even though that's exactly what we exhale and what plants need to survive. So that's been done away with, and I read a stat that said that will be an immediate $1.7 trillion boost into America's economy. Are happy days here again? maybe don't get out all of the popcorn and the confetti just yet, but I think you can smile and raise a glass to free market policies, which are showing that we are turning the Titanic around. It just won't be on a dime. And that's the Speaker's stump speech for today.
All of the economic signs are pointing in the right direction, and it's really good news that this is happening early. It's not happening in May or June, which is not going to be enough time for the voters to feel it.
You're right. We'll see if this gets baked into the cake. Next up, we'll talk about renewing the earnings taxes or not in the city of St. Louis and Kansas City. And what are the Show Me Institute folks learning from the latest crime stats? And can we believe those stats as well? Patrick Tuohey breaks that all down for us next. Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
News, analysis, opinion.
The president has made his priority quite clear.
Iran says it's ready for dialogue.
Why don't we lower the temperature? Some of these individuals do come from out of state. Are they being paid?
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, let me tell you about a dental practice I don't just recommend. I'm a proud patient. The Dental Link is run by Dr. Alan Link and his son Andrew, and you can feel the difference the moment you walk in. I have dental implants, so this is personal for me. This isn't cosmetic fluff. This is serious dental work. They took the time to explain everything, made sure I was comfortable, and treated me like a person, not a procedure. One thing that really stood out is the staff. Dr. Link treats his team like family, and you can tell they genuinely enjoy working there, and that shows in how relaxed, professional, and attentive they are with patients. And if you're nervous about implants, here's something important. The Dental Link also offers mini dental implants, a minimally invasive alternative that often means less pain, shorter recovery times, and a reduced risk of complications compared to traditional implants. My implants have been a game changer. They look natural, feel natural, and gave me back confidence. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd lost. The Dental Link's Baldwin office is located near 141 in Manchester, and you can reach them at 636-496-8584. Or learn more at thedentallink.com. Dentallink.com. Do good, do it well, have fun doing it. That is their motto.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
This Winter Games Update brought to you by Corel Roofing and Best Buy Flooring.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. People will wonder, was Ilya Malinin overhyped because he had successfully landed that quadruple axel? He was seen earlier today wearing a T-shirt with his nickname, the Quad God. Those in the know insisted it was a sure thing. There was no way Malinin was not going to win the gold medal in men's figure skating, except He didn't win the gold or any medal. He finished in 8th place after a disastrous free skate program where he fell twice. We've now seen 2 famous U.S. athletes come up short in these games. It happened in alpine skiing with Michaela Schifrin. The U.S. women's hockey team, hardly a disappointment, into the semifinals with a 5-0 record and a cumulative score of 26-1. It was 6-0 today over Italy. 5 of those goals came in the second period. Men's hockey, Canada beat Switzerland 5-1. The U.S. plays Denmark tomorrow. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
Need parts fast? Need them now? O'Reilly is fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly Auto Parts stand apart. Right now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts, you can get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 qualifying brake rotors. Ask the professional parts people about additional brake pad and rotor upgrade options available at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Can I take your coat?
Oh, you noticed. Yeah, I found it on eBay from a seller in Vegas. Pre-loved and perfect. She listed it and jackpot. Italian leather, classic trench silhouette. And did you see the braided buckle?
Hang on to your claim ticket.
Oh, I'll hang on to this forever. Have you been on eBay? There's so many finds. And I bet that diving watch would sell fast. Just saying.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Because it's murder by numbers. 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABC.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
The city's budget committee met to discuss the earnings tax. Per state statute, every 5 years, the voters must decide whether or not to keep paying the 1%. Mayor Spencer says that earnings tax isn't a detractor for people to move here.
I talk to residents on a regular basis that, that live here, that love living here, and folks that are choosing to move. And I hear a lot of reasons why people choose to leave St. Louis, whether it's crime or the perception of crime or schools or other things. I have never heard anyone say, I'm leaving because I'm tired of that 1% earnings tax.
That city earnings tax issue goes back to city voters for the upcoming April election.
Kara Spencer, Chris, says voters love to pay taxes.
If Mayor Spencer is listening right now, I'm going to tell you that I'm glad we left so I don't have to pay that 1% sales tax. So there, I'm the one that doesn't agree with
I'll
that.
agree with you, and so will Joey. There's 3 of us. Let's see what our next guest thinks about all this and more.
And now, a man who comes alive when there's bad public policy in Missouri, Patrick Tuohey.
Show me the way every day.
Senior fellow at the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Patrick, Mayor Kara Spencer says, 1% here, 1% there. That's not real money. What say you?
Well, it is money, and I'm sure it keeps people who are relocating to the area from moving into the city. I'm confident it plays a role in businesses that move out of the city. And, again, you can say it's schools, you can say it's crime or the perception of crime. Those are legit, but St. Louis needs fewer reasons for people to leave, whatever they are. And even if the 1% tax isn't the top reason they leave, it's not keeping people in. And St. Louis needs to be competitive with the municipalities around them and say, hey, we're a great place to live. We're an efficient place to live. And I think those things are true of the city, but too often they kind of do things that push people out, and government services and taxes are part of that. It's a shame.
Patrick, I have a question that I have never heard asked before. Why does this tax need to be renewed every 5 years? Usually, if a tax is put in place, it's there forever.
Yes, that's right. There was a constitutional amendment or a state vote years ago that passed statewide that required that any city with an earnings tax had to vote to renew it every 5 years, and that no additional city could institute an earnings tax.
Oh.
And so That's why we have to vote on it. And I'll tell you, I'm more familiar with Kansas City, but they never have a plan to get rid of it. They understand that it is to some degree a barrier to keep people here. Lord knows they use economic development incentives to give people back their tax money. So they understand it's a barrier, but they're addicted to it. They can't imagine giving it up. And so I'm glad that at least every 5 years they've got to hustle and justify the expense. And you won't be surprised to learn they always say the same thing, which is, gosh, if we lose this tax, we're going to have to fire, police officers, first responders. It's like that old National Lampoon magazine cover, buy this magazine or we'll shoot this dog. It's never we're going to get rid of, this department, or we're going to sell the water department, or we're going to become more efficient. It's always, we're going to fire the people on the front lines that are protecting you.
Patrick, even the best public policies often need a campaign behind them. And I'm just wondering if there ever was like a full-throated campaign. I wonder how many people would actually vote even in the city of St. Louis or city of Kansas City, even in some of these more, left of center regions. I still don't think that people if given a choice, and if they knew that choice existed, that they would vote to actually voluntarily pay more taxes. What do you think about that?
No, I don't think they do. And I thought you were going to go in a different direction with the question. I suspect that the people who donate to the Yes campaign on the earnings taxes are going to be big businesses that rely on a, let's say, cozy relationship with the city. Because what the earnings tax allows the city to do is, you show up for some sort of subsidy, and the city will give you all your property tax, which doesn't fund the city, and they'll give you all your sales tax back, which doesn't go to the city, and they'll give you half your earnings tax back because they depend on that at the city. And so the city will spend, libraries' money, school districts' money, but they'll only part with a portion of their money. And so the earnings tax kind of allows them to be very generous with these subsidies. I suspect that the usual suspects that give to a Yes campaign are the ones that have got a sweet deal from the city on property and sales taxes and want to keep it that way. Now, I don't know that to be true, but no, otherwise, I don't imagine anybody, left, right, or center, would pay to institute more taxes unless they are satisfied with the level of services they get. Because here in Kansas City, and maybe in your end of the state too, people do institute all sorts of, sales taxes and whatever to fund public safety or this or that. So, we are a generous city, but I don't know that anybody is confident they're getting their money's worth. It's kind of a paradox. People will vote for taxes, but if you ask them if they think they're getting their money's worth, I don't think they would say yes.
Finally, on this issue, Patrick, let's put some concrete numbers here. I know you probably have a better idea in Kansas City than you do St. Louis, but how much money are we talking about annually with these 1% earnings taxes?
Yeah, I am sorry. I don't have numbers in St. Louis. Forgive me. In Kansas City, they say it's about $390 million a year.
Whoa.
So let's say it's a little bit less for St. Louis. But I also know that in Kansas City, the city alone, due to subsidies, gives away $111 million a year. So they're spending more than 25% of it is going right out the door for cronies. And by the way, you asked about why we're voting on this. If the voters say yes, the tax doesn't go away immediately. It's phased out over 10 years. So St. Louis and Kansas City have plenty of time to figure out what they're going to replace it with. And they will have to replace it with other things. But, we talk so much about the legislature wanting to reduce the state income tax. And so what's going to happen is even people who want to stay in Missouri, Kansas City and St. Louis are going to become less and less attractive places to live because you can live right outside the border and not pay any income tax at some point in the future. And so, again, St. Louis and Kansas City just need to be more competitive. They need to understand that they're competing with the municipalities and the county around them, and they've got to hustle to offer a better product. And if cities think that they don't If cities think they're not in a competitive market for residents and businesses, they are fooling themselves.
Patrick, we often talk about the fact that perception's reality, especially when it comes to crime and public safety. The perception here in St. Louis, probably in Kansas City as well, is that crime is just as bad as it's always been. People are not real eager about going downtown, especially at night. And all you got to do is look around, drive around in our inner urban areas, and you can see the effect of that perception. Patrick, you've had a couple of great opportunities, forums with the Show Me Institute to talk about what the reality is. What are we learning as to what is the data telling us? Are we turning a corner? Are things getting better? Or are they just as bad as they've always been?
So crime is down everywhere in the country for the most part. And that's certainly true in St. Louis, the city of St. Louis, and even in the county. Crime is down broadly. But that perception issue you mentioned is exactly right. People are less likely to believe that crime is going down. They may even think that crime is going up or staying the same. And I think perception of crime is a lagging indicator, right? It has to be going down for a long time before people feel it. And also, I think the indicators of what people feel, and think about your own experience walking around in an urban environment, right? Is the grass cut? Do the street lights work? Is there trash on the street? Is there graffiti? Those aren't necessarily signs of crime, but they are signs in the environment that this area is not taken care of or looked after, or maybe the people here don't care about the community they're living in, and that can trigger in us. I'm no psychologist, but I think that can trigger in us a sense of not feeling safe. And then part of it, of course, is we see on the news crime reporting all the time. And then, of course, if you have a personal experience with crime, that's going to stay with you for a long time. So the numbers are getting better, and that is wonderful, but it's going to be a while before people feel that things are getting better.
Patrick, we've got a couple of minutes left, and I want to ask you, at these two forums that you've had so far, what type of solutions have been discussed?
Well, I have to say, what I wanted to find out from those audiences, and these weren't necessarily geared to solutions to crime. I just wanted to find out, do people believe the numbers? And if they didn't, what would it take for them to be more confident? And I've got to admit, I didn't come up with any answers. People are really hesitant to accept that crime is going down. And look, the fact is, kind of what they sounded like was, look, I don't care about your statistics. Let me share with you my own personal anecdotes. And we're all guilty of that. But at some point, people are going to have to say, despite their experience or despite what they're seeing on the news, that the numbers are trending, that the numbers are trending in the right direction. And that's good. And it's okay to feel good about something in St. Louis. It doesn't mean it'll be good forever, but it's good right now, and that's worth something.
That's Patrick Tuohey. He is Senior Fellow with the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Patrick Tuohey on Twitter X. Patrick, thanks for everything as always. We'll look forward to speaking with you again in the near future.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, sir.
That's very sweet of you. Happy Valentine's Day, gentlemen. Take care.
Same to you as well. Patrick Tuohey there with the Show Me Institute. All right, Chris, got lots of nice time to talk to Joey about Crime 101 and our favorite crime drama movies of all time. We'll return with that analysis with this cast of thousands in Joey V's movie today. How many T-Ravs will it deserve? We'll find out next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Increasing clouds overnight tonight will drop to 40 degrees. Saturday brings a widespread but beneficial rainfall to the area. Cloudy, damp, and chilly day with a high of 52. Rain will continue to be likely through Saturday night as we drop to 43. And then on Sunday, we start the day with mostly cloudy skies, but the sun will come out in the afternoon. We'll see a high of 58 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing? Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home, too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
They served our country with honor. Now it's our turn to serve them. Join the freedom13.org for an unforgettable gala honoring America's heroes, February 27th at the Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles. A special evening supporting Freedom 13's bold mission, 50 camps in 50 states on more than 50,000 acres, building 650 homes for veterans, police, and their families. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities are available now. Visit thefreedom13.org. That's thefreedom13.org.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
He hits jewels, cash, and high-value items. He knows exactly what to transport and when. There's no DNA. He's in and out in seconds.
Your guy's untraceable.
I came here to make you a business proposition.
Worked at the same company for 11 years. You're a VP when you should be a partner.
Those high-value items your company insures,
I make them disappear.
start by handing me your phone. Hello, James.
And that is the trailer to Crime 101. It's an LA heist movie. Joy, before you get started, you know, I was watching one of the Super Bowl commercials, and they played that music. Dun, 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 and I was like, that's Joey's theme music. I got all excited and everything.
That funky fanfare.
Yes, it was on there.
I thought Joey was going to pop out of the TV.
I did. I was like, that's Joey's theme music. I've so got that in my head. All right, let's do it.
Joey, baby, what movie are you playing?
Brought to you by Harry J's Steakhouse in Moscow Mills.
Today we are talking Crime 101, and the plot is about a thief who only robs stores along the 101 freeway in Los Angeles, and he wants to do one last big score before getting out, this time with an insurance broker. And unfortunately, there's a relentless detective hot on their tail. And the thief is played by Chris Hemsworth. The insurance broker to L.A. billionaires is played by Halle Berry. And the detective is played by Mark Ruffalo. And the main theme throughout Crime 101 is that all of these characters really hate their bosses. And I don't know if I'm supposed to notice this, but I noticed that all of these people also suck at their jobs. So it's kind of a disconnect there. Like, oh, man, my job sucks. Well, you suck at your job. So why don't you just get better, and maybe your boss will treat you a little bit better. And, you know, because they suck, I immediately didn't really connect with this movie because I prefer my cops and robbers to be competent in the movies. And with a title like Crime 101, I was expecting to learn some things about detectiving and burglaring. And there's not really much of that at all. There's one thing I did like. Chris Hemsworth, when he wears his ski mask, he does wear colored contacts. So that's a good tip for the criminals out there. Why don't you change your eye color? If you're not going to go just straight pantyhose over the head, just pop in some contacts as well. Now, I had no idea that these A-listers were such sadomasochists because the director embarrasses them and then preserves it on film forever. Mark Ruffalo is this detective, and when we first meet him, he's sitting down to pee on the toilet. And his bathroom is so small, his wife walks in and the door bashes him in the face while he's still sitting on the toilet.
Oh, no.
And then a few scenes later, she declares in front of a crowded diner that she's been cheating on him and then breaks up with him and says she's going to move out. So maybe for that alone, Chris would want to see this movie because he hates Mark Ruffalo. So it'd be fun to see him get embarrassed like that. Plus, every one of the other detectives that he works with thinks he's a buffoon and doesn't go along with this theory that, it's a serial robber that's going along the 101 freeway. They're like, dude, all these little cases that you've connected, we've actually got those closed already. Those, like, half of those cases are already closed. So give up. And you don't even close that many cases yourself. So you suck, Mark Ruffalo. Get the heck out of here. Then Halle Berry, this movie tries to convince you that she's ugly.
Oh.
What?
Can you imagine that?
I don't want to see
Doesn't
it.
work.
Yeah.
The movie starts off with her waking up. So the director shook her out of bed and hey, I need you to wake up with no makeup and put some makeup on for everyone.
She's still beautiful.
I know. So she puts on a gallon of foundation.
Oh, jeez.
And then her bosses at the insurance agency, which is named Vile Insurance Agency. That's the actual name.
Vile.
Is Vile. And her bosses are so mean to her. You aren't hot anymore. You can't close these big contracts. You're 53. Chris, I mean, that's offensive. Calling Halle Berry ugly and making fun of the fact that she's 53.
She's actually 60.
She's beautiful. She's a fine wine. How dare they?
She is.
And then Chris Hemsworth. This is the worst casting I've seen in a while.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
This guy is neurodivergent in the movie, which means he's awkward and he taps on tables and he can't maintain eye contact with ladies. He gets so nervous around ladies.
Oh, poor Chris Hemsworth.
Poor Thor.
Poor
He's
Thor.
Super handsome, but he's nervous around ladies. Okay.
He's 6'3".
Right.
He's Australian. He is jacked. But in this movie, one of his favorite call girls shuts him down. No, I don't have time for you. In this movie, he is also rich. He is a rich, handsome man, and the call girl says, I can't make it tonight.
Yeah,
and
all the ladies I know don't like Chris Hemsworth. Says no one
my
ever.
wife loves him.
Yeah,
PT
mine
prostitute.
too.
Yeah. And then there's other stars that are in this movie for a minute. Jennifer Jason Leigh, she was the bad lady in The Hateful Eight. And then Chris mentioned earlier, he was excited about Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's in it for 30 seconds. He does sitting down acting. Apparently, he's still alive, but this movie would not make you believe that. I actually Googled after the movie, did Nick Nolte die? Because he was on his last gasps in this movie. And
maybe that's the longest they could keep him sober.
I know.
Was 30 seconds.
His voice was already crackly when he was 40 years old. He's 85 now, and you cannot tell what this man is saying in the movie.
Really?
And he's supposed to be the
sad.
mastermind telling Chris Hemsworth what to do. He's casing these joints, and he's telling them, this is how you rob it. I don't believe that he is the mastermind at all. I feel like he should be put into an old folks home.
I think I know where I'm going with the final review here.
It's based on a novella, which means tiny book, right?
Right.
The novella is 25 pages long.
Oh, wow. They got a movie out of that?
Crime 101 is 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's the only way that you could actually compare Crime 101 to Heat, is that they were really going after that 2 hour and 50-minute running time for no reason. It was a slog to sit through this. I checked my phone at an hour 10 just to be
That's never good.
This is when I have mentally checked out of this movie, and it looks like I have another hour and 10 minutes left. And you never find out why the 101 is such a great highway to do these crimes around. And it's an Amazon movie, which means the budget is stupid also. You don't really think about this, but streaming platforms like Amazon, they don't give the actors and the directors a cut of the theatrical profits because there's not really a theatrical profit.
Right.
So they have to overpay to get them to do movies. So everyone probably got fat paychecks to do this because they're not going to get a back end. And of course, based on my review right now, it's not going to make any money at the theater anyway. If I had to recommend Crime 101 to anyone, I guess it would be single dads who are alone for Valentine's Day and aren't allowed
Super handsome and ripped.
No, they aren't allowed to see their kids anymore,
Oh, okay.
and they need a place to cry. That's who I would recommend.
Wow.
Just go to the theater alone and just cry with the other single dads, because this is something that made me think of sales guy Ethan, because he recommends these awful Liam Neeson movies to me all the time. There's literally a Liam Neeson movie where he sits in a car the whole time because he sat on a bomb, and he's like, you got to check this out. I gave it 1 star, and he won't let me live it down. I think sales guy Ethan's going to love Crime 101 because there is a Dodge Challenger in it.
Right. Oh, okay.
And there's motorcycle chases, but they don't lead anywhere.
Right. Well, don't give too much away. I'm curious, where does Halle Berry fit in this? I was going to ask, does she and Chris Hemsworth have a love interest? But you said he's a big dork, so that's not there. Where does she fit into this?
She's the insurance agent to billionaires, which means she goes to their billionaire mansions and tries to insure all their artwork and their guns. But she throws her entire life away for $3 million because Hemsworth finds out who she is, tries to social engineer a romantic relationship with her. And then she's like, you know what? Yeah, I was going to be VP of this company, but I'll throw it away for $3 million. If she was any good at being an insurance agent to billionaires, I think she would make that in like a year or two.
I think I'd throw it away for $3 million.
Joey, I found a review that you would probably agree with. There's a one-line review from some fella called Blake Howard from One Heat Minute. Don't know who he is. Crime 101 isn't just Heat adjacent. It's bad Michael Mann karaoke. That's
exactly. I mean, you can't even compare it to Heat because Heat is about a group of criminals that are really good at their job and then a group of detectives that are good at their job. So you have a team going against each other in a big face-off showdown. This is just one guy against one guy, and they both suck at their jobs. So even these Heat jokes offend me. To put Heat in the same sentence as Crime 101 is awful. But the movie didn't make me mad. It was just so dull. I just thought it doesn't have a single reason for it to exist.
Is it action-packed? There's a lot of action in it, or
there's
that kind
an action scene at the beginning, and then there's one at the end, and none of them really connect in a way that I can recommend this to anyone. I give it 1.5.
Oh, wow. That's got to be
out of 5 toasted raviolis.
That's a pretty low score. You've been giving 4 and 4.5 for the last 5 or 6 movies. 1.5 is
gotta have a dud every once in a while.
Pretty bad.
I love recommending great movies. That's the one thing I get out of this segment that I'm happy to do. Now, this is a warning. Please, everyone, avoid it. If I were to recommend a movie to see, Chris said he was going to try and watch Heat this weekend. I'm very excited to hear what he's going to tell me. But, of course, other Heat-adjacent movies, The Town with Ben Affleck.
Excellent movie.
The Departed, that won Best Picture.
Fantastic.
With Matt Damon. Hell or High Water is a Taylor Sheridan movie.
I like his
It's
stuff.
got Chris Pine, who played, was it Captain Kirk or whatever in the Star Trek movies. And then Live and Die in L.A., that's an 80s movie with counterfeiting money. So I would check out those instead of that. And then bad Heat-adjacent movies. I just watched Den of Thieves for the first time. Den of Thieves is god-awful. That's Gerard Butler. Please avoid Den of Thieves at all costs, but I think you like that one,
I think
Chris.
we saw that, yeah.
The sequel just came out. It's got Ice Cube's son.
Yeah, I like those movies.
I hate those
This is
movies.
like the third one, right?
There's the second Den of Thieves just came out a little bit ago.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
Probably a third one for people like you.
This weekend, of course, is Valentine's Day. Joey, can you recommend a dinner and a movie for a couple that may want to see a good comedy? Is there any romantic comedies or something you'd recommend that's out, or something that's...
Wuthering Heights is getting awful reviews.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to go see that?
No, I would never see that. I don't like historical dramas. And then there's the new cartoon movie, Goat, that's got Steph Curry in it.
Okay.
And they're playing basketball.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, maybe, Tim, do you have any crime movies that you would recommend to someone, or some of your favorites?
I liked all the ones you mentioned, except there was 1 or 2 I hadn't seen yet. I enjoyed Road to Perdition, which I mentioned.
Tom Hanks.
Incredible Tom Hanks movie. You cannot believe the character he plays. This is like a more of a gang movie. I love Gangs of New York.
Of course.
With Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
American Gangster I loved American Gangster.
Denzel and Russell Crowe.
You guys see a lot more movies than I do.
Well, back in the day. These are all old movies.
I didn't see them back in the day.
And then I would, of course, I mean, this is a crime movie, although it's definitely also very eccentric. I love Pulp Fiction.
Of course.
I think Pulp Fiction's fantastic. And did you like L.A. Confidential or not?
I did, but it's a little tainted now that Kevin Spacey's
that's
serial
true. Weirdo.
Sexual
Serial
harasser type
weirdo.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about me. I just don't get Quentin Tarantino movies. They're just weird.
Larry was
They're
just
very violent
raving
and weird
about how much he loves Jackie Brown, and I love Jackie Brown too. Quentin didn't really write that one, so maybe that's a good one to start with. Everyone loves Pam Grier, Robert Forster.
Even though she said last couple of weeks ago that her mother walked her past a hanging when she grew up in Ohio, and it was like 1947 or something, and the last hanging was like 1920.
Oh, she's going the way of Cher. She's losing her mind.
She got busted lying.
I'm a big Wuthering Heights fan, but this one almost looks like over-the-top, shockingly sensual.
It's revisionist.
It's like a trashy romance novel.
That's what it looks like
Yeah.
to me, too.
So you will not be reviewing Wuthering Heights.
I will not.
All right. Great movie review. That is Crime 101. Well, great movie review by Joey, but not a great review of the movie. 1.5 toasted ravs. That's Joey V Movies. Coming up next, the story behind the story, Larry Connor's USA. When newsrooms should practice self-censorship. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe and have a great weekend.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse. Serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine in or carry out, your meal is